My name is Rose Amador LeBeau. I am President and CEO of CTC. Our mission is to help people through employment and education become self-sufficient. We have a day worker center. We have educational programs so people can get their GEDs. We serve a variety of people, people who've just become unemployed, people who have never worked. We work with homeless people. We work with people who have just gotten out of prison and have to re-enter the workforce. So we're full service. I think it's seeing people make the change, become successful, make that transition, and actually having an impact on people's lives, a positive impact. To see these success stories is what it's all about. Hi, I'm Siwapili Rose Amador LeBeau, and this is Native Voice TV. Welcome to the show. I'm here with my co-host, Craig Pasqua. Hi, Craig.
Osio, Rose.
And I was just admiring this beautiful work in front of us. Look at these boxes. They're just lasered so beautifully. And we have our guest who actually did the work today.
Yes, today our guest is Raymond Fiddler. Raymond's Cheyenne, River Sioux, and Standing Rock, Lakota. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We were just admiring your boxes here.
Thank
Those
you.
are gorgeous.
Yeah, we've been working on the boxes since like 2012. My very dear friend Christy Mariano, she does helps with all the lasering and the design work, and we've just been building boxes and kind of filling the need, for the community.
Yeah, so you kind of specialize the designs on them to what people request, or you just come up with your own designs, or how do you?
Anything anybody wants, we'll be able to put it in. I mean, a picture from a phone, take a picture of you, and we'd be able to put it on a box.
Oh, I like that.
And it's really a testament to the new technology we have today. We do all the work at Tech Shop in San Jose, and it's a community place that has all of the machines in there that you can go in and do the work. 4 years ago, say 2011, I wouldn't have been able to do this down here in the valley, right in downtown San Jose. Right. I would have to take it over the hill and and do it at my own shop. But here, being in the community down here and being able to find the lumber and really get it out to the community and share their and your dreams, and your visions, and then be able to put them on wood that we'll be able to work it out.
How long does it take to put together the box?
Oh, it depends. It can go from anywhere from 3 days up to a week, depending on like the smaller ones. They take at least 2 days because it takes me time to mill the wood, and then time for Christy to do the laser and to discuss the design on it, and then for me to finish it out. This morning, I was at the shop at 5:30 this morning, finishing the last touches on some of these here, so we can have them here today. We were so busy with just regular orders, word of mouth orders, that we don't just make them, like you said, or they're people's designs or things that we come up with. Lately, we haven't had time to come up with our own things because people have just been. So we've been overwhelmed with, so awesome.
I bet. Well, I have to admit, I have a Golden State Warriors one, and
Yes, you do.
and you do beautiful native ones, and they could be used for anything, for feathers, for jewelry, for ashes, anything, right?
Yes, in fact, I just have an order for one for an interment for ashes, and I'm very honored. And the middle box right there, it says. For the Kapuli, it's for one of our esteemed members in the Aztec dancing, and that's his box for the ceremony. It keeps all of his stuff that for ceremony, and I get I really goosebumps right now and thinking about that someone trust us that much that they would want their sacred items and something that we have built So that one right there, takes a little time and effort, and
Oh,
so
absolutely.
that they're just love to do this stuff at work.
So your material is this cedar?
Yes.
all-
It's
It's
because cedar and redwood has natural properties in it that help keep bugs and insects out of it to keep from eating. Well, I make them specifically for the feathers, for our native reasons, so the bugs won't get in and eat leather and for regalia purposes, and so that's why. And then they smell amazing. So the red aromatic and Tennessee red cedars is what we use.
Those are beautiful, beautiful. I know you have a lot of them out at the different powwows that you go to, and those are just gorgeous. But you almost weren't with us. Tell us your story.
Yeah, in 2006, I got very sick, and I went into a coma, and for 4 months. I was asleep for 4 months, and it started with a cold. They said I had a cold, and it turned into the flu, and then turned into pneumonia and double pneumonia, and then I got in some kind of viral infection, and it consumed my lungs. And I was at Valley Medical Center, and it's a teaching hospital, so I think they kept me. They were trying to save my life, of course, but towards the end of the 4 months, they just could not. Western medicine was keeping me alive, but it wasn't saving me. So their thoughts were, okay, well, we're gonna let Raymond go and bring his family together to have, let him go in a good way. And in a native way, my brother and the Indian House Center, Mike Duran, they got together and had a native ceremony for me. And they don't know what happened, right? They brought all this together, and the medicine man out to pull the plug on my machines and let me go in that good way. But when they had the ceremony, something happened, and it turned things around. And this is no joke. 4 days later, they put my X-ray up in the machine, and they start seeing a little bit of clearing. So my lungs are starting to clear it. 4 weeks after that ceremony, I was let out of the ICU and then put in a transitional ICU. And then a couple weeks after that, I went to a convalescent home, and then I went home. And
Wonderful.
then I had to learn how to walk again and talk again. And being on, actually the drum I sat at was Swift Cloud drum at the West Valley College powwow with my oxygen tank, and they just, Gene Newman rolled me right up there, and Billy made spot for me, Billy LeBeau, and I don't care what anyone says, to the ground. That's what healed me. It was prayers of my people, and the way we are today. And I take that message everywhere. I mean, that's what it's about.
There's
That's
the
right.
answer to our health crisis. Affordable Care Act, we have it.
That's
we have the
true.
answer.
That's true, and I'm
And-
sure people probably don't want to hear that, right? They can't make a lot of money off of it.
That's
True.
it.
There's no profit in the cure.
So,
And we're so happy you're with us to spread all the good news and your good work in the community.
Well, we've gone beyond just doing boxes for eagle feathers. We've done full engraving. Lately, we found a need for grave markers, in tribal areas. We just had a request last year from one of our esteemed elders in a community here locally that needed 2 grave markers for their tribe in Arizona, and they needed like 12 of them for Memorial Day. They have a lot of them that were just washed away. They don't have the money for them. People want to just charge absorbent, amounts just for a little grave marker.
Right.
And so they told us this story, and I said, we're going to figure this out. So Christy and I went to the marbles. I just did a lot of research, with sandblasting it, and so we figured it out how to do it with the laser machine and with the aid of the sandblaster, and we're able to make grave markers now for a fraction of the cost. And
that's
I really
wonderful.
want to get out there and help other tribes that can't afford them. I mean, we'll come up. I'm not going to say no to anybody. If you have a grave marker out there and you have a family member that needs help and you cannot afford that, you call Mata Nupa Cedar Designs, ask for Ray Fiddler, and we will figure out a way to get that person, your family member, their identity back. And were able to reach that day, because it was for Memorial Day. We were only, I had only promised 2, but we were able to push out 8 that and send them out on that trip for that Memorial Day.
Wow,
And
that's
one thing I
wonderful.
could have had on the table, it would have been that, but it was my sample was quite big for that. So
Because a lot of the tribes just use the wooden cross.
yeah, and even in South Dakota, and I'm going home this summer to get my Indian name in. I'm taking like 6 or 7 with me, my own family members that need them. You know, that are, we have our own, we go to South Dakota, every family, every Tayoshpai has their own, you know, church and has their own cemeteries and stuff like that. So I want to get out there and really reach the people and let them know that we have the service available. We'll figure out the shipping.
Now you have a lot of families still back home, and tell us about
very,
that.
very
Tell
big.
us about, I mean, for
Yes,
our
I'm from
audience, let us
Eagle
know
Butte,
where
South
you're from.
Dakota, and Whitehorse, South Dakota. I'm an enrolled member of the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe. My father was Standing Rock Lakota, you know, from Breen, South Dakota. So, and North Dakota, excuse me. And so that's where I'm from. And I have, I have a huge amount of family on my mom's side. I mean, my dad's side, of course. Still in South Dakota, in the Eagle Butte area, in the Whitehorse area, and Timber Lake, of course.
How did you end up out here in the Bay Area?
I walked.
Okay.
No, just kidding. The relocation act from my grandmother. The relocation act from my grandmother. My mother followed her in the 50s, and my mother followed her, and that's how we came to be out here.
So relocation.
The relocation act,
Okay.
or whatever that was
Yeah.
called.
Yeah.
So you were raised out here?
Yes, so since I was
Raised
6.
out here.
How was that growing up?
But actually, I got sent home for all my summers. You know, from
Oh, you
the
did?
time I was 8 to 14. So I would leave like right after school started. I would spend all my summers with my great grandparents and my dad.
Oh,
You know,
that's
until I was
great.
like 14.
Well,
And
that's,
so, you know,
that
I would
kept you
get the-
grounded and rooted.
Of course, yeah, exactly. And I really feel bad for my brother and my sister who didn't get that opportunity, and because I got to see horses, I got to do those things, and eat the foods, and I was exposed to, that I call it the Indian way of life, in a good way,
That's good. That's
have
so
those-
important.
right?
Because I was raised in my tribal homeland in Oklahoma, and I came out at 18, but I had the benefit of living there the first 18 years.
Uh-huh.
So that's wonderful that you got to go back for summers.
Now, let me ask you this. I heard, rumor has it, that you're doing stand-up comedy?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
It's actually the working with the boxes and just doing things with my community, actually walking and talking again. It's all part of I was asleep for 4 months, right? And they say in a coma,
Do you remember anything from that? Do you remember
just
people
visions
being
and
there?
dreams and things like that. And I was on this paralyzing drug part of it, they said, and so, but it's weird, so hard to explain. It's just like dreams and visions, right? You would have, and but I was asleep for 4 months, and it felt like I went to sleep at night and I woke up the next day. And in reality, I had fallen asleep. I had gone to sleep May 22nd, so the end of spring, and I woke up at the end of summer. Right, and then so doing the comedy, doing the boxes, being with just the people, and being in my community was all from those visions. And I saw things, I heard things, I followed the drums and the singing out of wherever I was in my coma and to that ceremony that brought me back, which I know. People think I'm crazy or weird, and I don't care. That's what
I
it did.
believe that. I believe
Part of that thing was I was on a stage somewhere and just heard laughter, and just like I'm looking at it at a block, black everything right now. And I just felt love and I think we heal with laughter. I know I do.
Yeah.
I'm standing today, I'm walking today, And I can run, but I'm lazy. But I can do all those things, and part of that was I need to stand in every spot in my dream, in my vision, where I was in my coma, because I think it means something. Maybe I was there talking with you to help you heal. I was there to help Rose, because Rose is going to help me heal, right? That laughter on the stage thing, I need to go find out where I am so I can actually stand in that spot and maybe meet that person who's going to help me and help the next generation, And so the journey into being the comedian it's so hard to talk in front of people like on stage like that. But sometime early July, I just said I was going to start following that vision. I got on stage and I started doing it with open mics and stuff. So I'll do my first actual gig to be a comic, a stand-up comic, comedian, tomorrow at Freddie J's, thanks to PXG Floral, because she's been watching me and is going to give me a guest set on her show. So
exciting.
And then on the February 15th, I've been booked for a spot at Doc's Lab in the city on February 15th. So that's pretty cool.
So with open mic, what kind of reception did you get? How did it feel?
It was wonderful. I think all of the anxiety and pressure and fear is your own. You know, this is just feelings. But the people were just, it's a community itself. And this, you know, the stand-up comics, sometimes the list is 32 long. I mean, you know, and I don't drink, but they're at clubs sometimes and lounges and things. I don't drink alcohol, but sometimes I'm number 32, and so I don't get out of it until 2 a.m. But the people, they'll stay and support all of the other comedians, you know, until we're all out of there. And yeah, you got to come up to this other show, you know. So I do 5 open mics a week now, 3 down here in San Jose and 2 up in Redwood City, and I'm going to ramp that up as soon as.
So do you have one routine that you do, or do you have different routines that you do for different places? Or
I'm really working to find my voice right now and find my place. I really want to gear it around healing from my coma. You know, I mean, I was walking around before the coma in tidy whities, and I woke up in a diaper. I mean, what is, you know, it was just that whole thing, and then learning how to walk again. And, you know, I was in a wheelchair, and an electric wheelchair to gain my independence, and I went to college right there because I didn't know what I was going to do. And just the challenges of that, you know. I used to argue with this Korean lady over a bus seat because I had a wheelchair, and just the looks that she gave me, that's what I'm going to gear my, the really cool stuff that happens.
Reality.
Right, the reality of it.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's great. So that was back in what year you said?
2006.
2006. So you've
9
come a
years,
long
or
way.
we're almost 10.
And did it take what, about 2 years or so?
3 years.
3 years for
start
recovery.
walking again, and
Wow.
And I'm still under that same doctor's care. I have a partially collapsed lung still, and but other than that, I've been really doing well. I mean, I just exceeded all expectations of my own self, you know. Thus far, I just can't wait for tomorrow.
So what does this physician think of native healers now?
I don't know. It was funny. Some of them, they're science-based. I mean, so, you know, well, it was one said, well, you know, you were getting better. The other one, why were you going to pull the plug?
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to get better. Why were you planning to pull the plug? You know, okay. And then with the Dr. Weiner, the chief person of all of them, you know, he believed, and he said whatever you guys did worked, and I believe too. And you know, they're so ethical about that. I wanted to go and just give them everything, you know, because you know, to me that's what saving my life and keeping me alive was, you know. But they would only accept a little dream catcher that I had made, and we put it in the office of, you know, where they're at. So that was. And he said, go back and give it to the people.
Do you think if they had gone earlier, it would have made a difference? I mean, you know, because they were going to pull a plug, right? And the drums kind of brought you out of the coma, you think?
Oh,
you could hear them.
That and the rattle.
Wow.
I found the rattle. If you've ever been to one of our ceremonies, you'll know the significance of what that rattle is. Especially our Uwipis and our Wopila ceremonies. And that's what I was following, and that's what I found my way home. That's the truth. Can't explain it. It was just, you got to read it in the book when I write it. I have proof. But proof is my imagination. I just see these bubbles over everybody's head.
That stand-up.
Some people in your state, they become like catatonic. I think that's the word. And they're aware, they can't move, or they're lying in their bed, but they can hear what's going on. And oftentimes they'll wake up out of, you know, their alleged coma or whatever, and they'll go to the doctor and they'll go, you were wrong, because I heard what you said about me. You know, he's not going to make it, she's not going to make it. And imagine you had that experience, possibly.
Well, when I first woke up, when I very first woke up, I thought I had passed, because when I had first woken up, my first waking thing was, they were pushing me down the hallway, and all I saw was the lights over the top of me going right, very quiet, and put me in an elevator, and another guy gets in the elevator, and I can only hear, right, and I'm just barely opening my eyes. I could barely see, everything's super bright, and I hear, "Where are you taking this guy?" And the other guy says, "To the basement." Now, what's normally in the basement of a hospital? So I thought I was dead. And then down there, and I just kind of faded out in the ether. And I woke up again, and they were transferring me to a table and pushing me into a thing. So I thought they were pushing me into the drawer.
That's scary.
But they had stopped and put a warm blanket over me. I go, "Why are they putting a blanket over me?" And they didn't cover my face. But they were actually putting me into an MRI, just to take a whole MRI picture of me, just to see if I was okay. But inside of me, I was screaming, "I'm alive. I'm alive. I mean, I'm here. Don't," and I was.
Because we see the movies that they put, they cover you, they stick you in a drawer or something.
It's true. It's one of the greatest fears. And I just faded off again to the ether. And then I woke up, I was in quarantine, so I didn't know anybody for like the first, 8 to 10 days, because all I could see were eyes, and the first person I recognized was my wife, at that time, 21 years, 22 years. We're still together. But I didn't recognize anybody. I couldn't talk because they had taken, I was on one of the biggest breathing machines they have. They only have 4 of them in the United States, and they happen to have one of them at Valley Medical Center, and that's why I'm alive. Because they had one. And it's for 3rd-degree burn victims, and who never survived that, and I'm here.
So it was a breathing machine that breathes for you?
Yeah, that was an iron lung, more or less.
Goodness.
Not just a regular breathing machine, but like a big old breathing machine on steroids.
Wow.
Like Michael Jackson has.
Yeah.
Or did have.
Did have.
Wow. Amazing.
And so it's just that whole being stuck inside your head. Now I've been incarcerated. I've been, I've had some troubles in my life, but there was nothing more challenging and more mind-opening than being captured in your own mind and your own body, and being able to look at things around and not be able to do anything about it, and just that fight in your head, and I never think about that, and I never reflect back on that. So hey, thanks a lot for that. No, it does make me.
Wow.
It's made me a stronger person. I know it has. There's so many things I haven't realized yet. I've been blessed to have mentors and Tayoshpai family and friends that I've met along the way. Rose, you're one of them. Kwosiwa, Don Johnson, Christy Mariano, Ryan, Terry Porter, my wife. These people who've never left my side. My brother, Brian Fiddler, who's having his own troubles right now, but I'm going to get him, bring him home, bring him back to the circle.
Good.
That's what it's about.
Wow. So you have, so I guess your bucket list consists of all these visions you had and things that you want to do or go see those places. What else do you have on that list?
Love and laughter. But is it really a bucket list if I've already died, though? Because they said I flatlined twice. They said I flatlined in there twice. They bagged me twice, right? So.
So you had a hole in the bucket?
Yeah, so I had a hole in my bucket. So, yeah, I guess that's what it is. And I think that would fulfill it. I mean, I'm going to reach, the people that I've been doing since I promised the spirits, and the people who prayed and cried for me in that ceremony of tears. That for the rest of my life, I would do the best I could for the people, which is, I'm the people too, right? So, that being said, I don't think I'm going to have a dull life, and because the work is always going to be there. The fun and laughter is always going to be there. Just have to go there and shake the trees for it.
That's true. That's true. What advice would you give, since you've been through all these experiences? Do you work with youth at all? I mean, what advice would you give our youth? Because you've had a lot of different experiences in your life, and looking back, what would you tell our youth?
Really listen to your elders and get into the artwork. Get into doing something with your hands. These video games, these things that with just nothing but, I don't know how I would say it, artificial means of entertainment. You can't touch those screens. That's as far as it goes. We have kids, we did it with the Indian Education Center when it was still here. We had a Native Arts program for the children, I was asked to teach that, and then So that with we had 8. I don't have any children, and I wanted children, right? And I was going, I'm never going to have children. Well, the Creator gave me 8 girls, 4 of Potewats, and 2 of my nieces, and those were the kids that were able to help me learn that, right, and teach me some of that patience. And now it's kind of spilled over into the tech shop world, where we get to teach them I get to teach them how to do wood boxes and teach them the significance about that. And this is done to the people that are outside of our cultural, and our traditional means, and they're all native, they're Asian, they're white, they're Latino, and I'm helping them and bringing some of our culture into their lives, share that with the kids. We've created this program at the tech shop in San Jose and in San Mateo, and it's part of their STEAM program, but we've added a little bit of flair and culture to that, and they've given me the freedom, to and the tools and the where to do it. At the shop.
I saw a picture on Facebook. You had a bunch of little kids around you.
We just did that yesterday.
You were teaching them boxes?
How to make my bird houses. We've been doing bird houses and shelves. I'm back and forth, and it's one day it'll be bird houses, the next day it'll be shelves or something for. And then I let them choose too, because it's better than the mind of a child.
I think that's a good message. I think it's a good message that kids learn to work with their hands, learn the culture, learn, so they can pass it down.
Right.
Because they're not going to pass down the video games, that's for sure.
Oh, they get so into it. I mean, we've had children I had a child last summer take a cedar box and make a puzzle out of the cedar box. So when you put the puzzle back together, it's the cedar box. I mean,
that's wonderful.
It was just.
That's cool.
I just can't wait for the next day.
I'm so glad you're still here with us and just showing us so much and enlightening us and making us laugh. Thank you for being here, Raymond.
Of course. Be looking for my comedy stuff. I have Poof, Imagination.
All right. Well, we'll make sure we show some of it to our audience in the very near future. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week on Native Voice TV. Good night.